Welcome back, everyone. It's Open Mic, and I'm Mike Mooney, the chair of the NSA Carolinas chapter. And this series is dedicated to sharing the chapter news and voices that are here to help build your business as a professional speaker. And I've got to tell you, I have been looking forward to this conversation with Anton Gunn for some time. Once I heard that he was going to be presenting January 9th, that's coming up right around the corner. But Anton is absolutely no stranger to high profile positions, having served as a senior advisor to President Barack Obama. Is also the best selling author for the presidential principles as well. So he's got books out there for us to be learning from. He's been on national media, Wall Street Journal, Good Morning America, Inc. as well. And I also learned that he played football in the SEC down in South Carolina. So just great background in terms of the profile of working with people, being competitive, serving, and now Anton is spending his time as a speaker, coach, and consultant where he's traveling to work with leadership, changing leadership in terms of culture and the way they think and the way they act. And Anton, I got to tell you, when we were emailing back and forth, I noticed on one of your emails it said that you're on a mission to make a difference in the lives of 1,000 leaders and 100,000 people. So with all that going on, man, I just appreciate you taking the time to be with us today on Open Mic. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Very happy to be here, Mike. Always great to build with our NSA family.
That is awesome, man. So I want to jump right in here, okay? Because we've got your event coming up. It's called Turning Lightning into Electricity. Again, that's going to be January 9th. So turning lightning into electricity. I really would love to know, like, first off, the name gets me, right? I just love the name, the energy around it. So I'd love to learn more about like where did that come from and what's the message in that?
Yeah, so I'm a huge movie buff, and I love lots of great movies. And one of my favorite movies is Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox. And we all know the story of the DeLorean. It had to get up to 88 miles an hour in order for you to be able to go back to the future. However, the only way you could generate that is to capture lightning and use it as a concurrent force to move you into the future where you need to be. And so I came up with the title of this because so many of us in the speaking industry are trying to find the currents that move our business to the future success and the future level that we want to have. And sometimes lightning is around striking while the iron is hot or taking advantage of what's right in front of you, what's natural around you, and channeling that into something that is useful for you. And so I thought it was important for me to just kind of frame it up in a way of how I've been able to channel all of the things that exist all around me in my career and my life and channel them into building a business that, I'm very excited about the future of where I'm going and the success of my business. And let's face it, a lot of speakers are still part-time or they're still trying to go full-time into speaking, but haven't put all of the pieces together. And I've been one of those part-time speakers for the most of my career as a speaker and a member of NSA. I've been a part-time speaker because I just couldn't find a way to walk away from a hefty C-suite job at a corporation to be able to go off on my own until I put a few things together and turned this lightning into electricity.
Yeah, I love that. First off, big fan of Back to the Future and the DeLorean and the flux capacitor and that. So totally digging the reference and where the story came from on that. But I also love the fact that you're hitting on a point, especially coming out of COVID or 2020 in general. COVID
Mhm.
will still be here, but especially 2020 for a lot of speakers who, let's be honest, I mean, it rocked a lot of people's worlds,
Yeah.
mine and many others in NSA. And what you're touching on right now really is a foundational piece, right, for our members to really grasp the idea of building the business principles to support the message and the platform that you're trying to build, right?
Yes, no doubt about it. 2020 was hard on everybody else. I was telling someone just yesterday that when March 13th, I had 9 events on the calendar for the next, I think, 2 months, and they all canceled.
Yeah.
And I went into panic mode for a second, but then I recognized that, you know what, things are going to happen that we can't control. So how do I turn this into an opportunity to build some foundation to move forward. But I know a lot of speakers who packed it up. Some
Yeah.
people who were doing well quit and went to look for a full-time job. People found other kinds of hustles to just make it through, and they just can't stomach it. And my mastermind group, we were talking about this. Some people just packed it in, but I believe that is the wrong mindset. You got to have a scarcity mindset. I mean, abundance mindset in the middle of the scarcity. And events were very scarce in 2020. Let's face it. So how do you have an abundance mindset and build an abundance framework to your business? So when things do come back, you're in the best position to catapult your business to a level 5 times beyond where you thought it could ever be.
Yeah, yeah, building that momentum, right? And for the long game. So I counted there were like 6 different topics, strategies, tips that you were going to be sharing with the group. Can you just maybe go through, 1 or 2 of them, or a couple, like the ones that you think that people are going to be like, oh man, yes, Anton, you're right here in my head. I need
Yeah.
this right now.
So I'll tell you. I'll start with the one that I put on there first. Is about LinkedIn. A lot of people are on social media. So whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, or whatever platform people choose to be on, it is very social, and we use it as a marketing tool. But I have learned how to use LinkedIn as a hunting tool,
Hmm.
not a fishing tool. So how do you find your ideal client on LinkedIn, and how do you get them to buy?
Hmm.
And I will tell you, roughly 18 months ago, I had 4,000 contacts on LinkedIn. I'm now approaching 17,000 contacts on LinkedIn. And I basically use it as a tool every day to
Yes.
prospect for a business.
Mhm.
And I've gotten several speaking engagements directly from LinkedIn. I get inquiries now where people are finding my profile and they're reaching out to me and say, hey, I would love for you to come and speak at our program for Black History Month or some other
Mhm.
kind of event. So that's one of the things we're going to talk about, is about LinkedIn and how do you optimize LinkedIn as an opportunity for you to search, for you to identify your ideal client, connect with them, and then solicit business. And some people are successful with it. So this might be an opportunity for the audience to share and learn the same way I'm going to share and learn. So that's the first one, is using LinkedIn in a great way. The second one, as I'm going to talk about, is we know as a speaker, you can be the most inspirational speaker in the world. You can be the humorist that makes everybody laugh. You can do all of the great things that you want to do as a speaker, but we all know that your content has to be sticky. It has to be deep. It has to be connected. And so in my industry, my client base, which is mostly healthcare, are very analytical. They don't just go by the story that I tell. The story is great, but they want some facts. They want some data. And many times, a lot of us don't have a lot of data, a lot of research, if you will, that back up the topics that we talk about. Or if we do, it's someone else's data, someone else's research that we found. And it's great to use that as long as we cite them and source them. But how do you create your own resources, and how do you develop your own research that is based upon your topic, that's based upon the subject in which you study, without having to go get a PhD or going back to graduate school?
Yeah.
Well, I found a unique way to do that. And I was able to commission 1,000-person study on my topic that gave me all of the analytics, all of the data, all of the graphs and the slides and the details, that I've now made my content a lot more meaty when I do presentations. So I'm going to talk about that and share some tips and ideas on how others can do that to, again, make your content more deeper, that's more appealing to that ideal client who's on LinkedIn. One of the other things I'll say about LinkedIn, the average LinkedIn user makes over $100,000 a year, where the average Facebook user makes about $30,000 a year. So you got to think about, if you're looking for someone to buy your services, to buy your product as a speaker, then how are you reaching to a client who will make that decision and have the wherewithal to pay your fee? And that's what we all want.
That is fantastic. That last stat blows me away in terms of the house, about the income. But what I'm taking away on those first 2, Anton, is it's about building gravity, right? How are you going to use
Yes.
LinkedIn to build the gravity to bring people to you, and then the thought leadership part of it
Yes.
through the research, which is something, again, that as you're thinking about your speaking practice, building your brand, right? Having that credibility to back up what it is you're saying is absolutely critical. So that's two of the six or so. So that is fantastic. So here's a question for you, because I think it's important how people show up, right?
Mhm.
And I'm a big believer, and I know you believe this too from your time playing football in the SEC, is that the work you do to succeed is done on the practice field, and then how you show up, right? So
Mhm.
how would you suggest that members show up to this event? Are there some things they should do in advance? Should they look at their LinkedIn profile? Should they be auditing some things? And how can they show up to like soak in all the goodness that you're going to be sharing with us?
Very good question. So I got a couple things that people can do. So the first thing is um, do some thinking about your ideal customer. So when I say ideal customer, not the audience that you speak to, but who is your ideal buyer? Who is the person who you would target to book you as a speaker? So it could be an association executive, it could be the chief learning officer in a corporation, it might even be the CEO of a large entity or a small business or whatever you're calling. So think very clearly about what your client is, your ideal client is, what do they do for a living, and what's their job title. So come prepared with that. The second thing I want you to come prepared with is I want you to come prepared with your three biggest challenges that you faced in 2020. And I know a lot of us had some of the same challenges, which is, getting money in the door because there are no events to do. But just think about your business as a whole. What are your three biggest challenges? And be prepared to talk about them and use what I'm going to teach as a lens to think about how you might be able to solve your challenges as a business owner. I
Mhm.
will also come in prepared to be motivated, because I do believe, as the first speaker of the calendar year 2020, we have to have a mindset of success as speakers in this current environment, whether it's COVID, whether it's, racism or social injustice, it doesn't matter what it is. We all have to have the right mindset. And you can't come into 2021 thinking that it's going to be just like 2020, even though it might look like that right now. So you
Yeah.
got to come prepared with the right mindset, because your mindset is more important than your skill set. So if you don't have the right mindset, doesn't matter what I teach on the 9th, you won't be able to absorb it and you won't be able to operationalize it. But you got to come in with the right mindset. So I would come prepared to be motivated, to be empowered, to be inspired, but more importantly, to get you some tools in your tool belt as we take on 2021.
Man, and we need that. We need that now more than ever. So we'll be prepared for motivation, get that mindset in the right place. Do I get bonus points if I bring six challenges or problems that I've
You
had,
can
not just
you can
three?
you can bring it. You can bring 10 of them. Bring them all, because I think they'll be similar to what other people are sharing, and
Yeah.
and there might be some that are unique to you. And we want to use this time as a lens to, again, help people to sort through those challenges and having the opportunity to be able to get solutions from the group and from me. And so this will be like a keynote session and a training session, but it's also a mastermind session for us to think through how we get through those challenges.
Yeah, I love that, because that's the big part of the NSA, especially at the chapter level. It's about that sense of community, to recognizing that, the issues and the challenges, the fears, the anxiety that I'm feeling, I'm probably not the only one, but we actually have a space that we create, right, where we can all come together and then share it, learn it, and sharpen our saws, quite honestly.
Yes, very much so.
That is awesome. Well, Anton, listen, we are just so, again, appreciative of you taking the time to join us and share the wisdom and your work and your message. January 9th is the event. Please go to nsacarolinas.org for more information to register. If you're an NSA Carolinas member, guess what? It's free. No excuses, folks. Okay, we're trying to reduce the hurdles for you to learn, to grow and evolve and take your practice to the next level. We're here for you. We believe in you. Anton, thank you again for your time on Open Mic, and we can't wait to learn from you, man.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. And I appreciate being with you. And I'm so excited about 2021 and us all growing and learning together.
All right, everyone. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next episode of Open Mic.